All right, guys, welcome to our next lecture, which is on financial management. Just an overview of the week. You will have a case that's due on Sunday, and you will have your second discussion post. Okay, and I'll post that by tomorrow morning. So just kind of letting you know. So what we're going to talk about today is just the kind of money side of college athletics, and you'll have an interesting case that I'm really interested to hear what you all have to think about it in an article that you're going to have to read for the discussion. So here we go. Understand college athletics was never intended to be what it is today. It was never involved or never intended to have this large amounts of money and media deals and sponsorships. That's not what the intent was. But I understand, even with all that, and again, we're numb to it because we see only, Power Five conferences. You have to understand that most schools lose money, and so what I'm going to link to is this a report that happens every year from USA Today, and they go through and they talk about every single college program, and I'll link this on EagleWeb, and it ranks them, and so. It ranks this, gives you the school, the conference, how much revenue they made, how much expenses they had, money that they had allocated, and the percent of their money that was allocated. What that allocated means is money that comes from the school, meaning that the student fees. And so you can see, you can get an idea of who makes money, but let's scroll down a little bit. Let's get down into say down into here. Here's Wyoming. They lost $19 million. Here's Miami of Ohio, lost $23 million. Florida, Utah State, $19 million. And you can kind of go down and see that basically the large majority of programs, they lose money. Now, given that, it's key that they learn how to balance their budget and they learn how to deal with what they're working with. And it's even harder now for Division I schools because they're having to pay cost of attendance, which is even more money out of their pocket. So a couple of things that are kind of unique to college athletics, and these are unique from any other thing. First, these television deals. You understand that these are multi-million-dollar deals, and most of the money is made off of television deals. So, something to kind of chew on a little bit. You'll have billion-dollar media deals. You'll have schools making $200 million just on their media deals. You have to also understand that it's an arms race, and what that means is everybody's trying to keep up with everybody else. So basically, if Alabama builds something, then somebody else is going to try to build something nicer. So Clemson's got a really nice facility now. Well, I guarantee you somebody else will try to build something nicer. Okay, and so that's an issue because it keeps driving up the cost. And this is the same thing with coaches. One coach gets paid enough money, then they think they have to pay every coach. You have to understand that right now the economy is just starting to come back, and so within higher education, universities are struggling, and so it's hard for people to wrap their mind around the fact that they're spending so much money on athletics but not academics. You have to understand kind of how the money works within college athletics. So the NCAA makes a crazy amount of money, but then that filters down to the conference level, and then eventually down to the athletic department level. And so it's important to understand that, that within different, ways that schools can make money, whether it be media through the NCAA, whether it be bowl championship money, all that money is filtered down level by level. And you also have to understand that with these budgets comes this deal that you have to sponsor sports and you have to comply with Title IX. And as a result, the unintended consequence of it is that sports get cut. Sometimes because they're out of compliance with Title IX, meaning that they choose to cut a men's sport instead of, adding a women's sport or another way of complying with it, or just some programs don't make money, and so it's an easy cut for them, and that's what your case is going to deal with. So college athletics have a really interesting configuration. They're nonprofit, so they're not supposed to make money. Okay, meaning they're tax exempt. For instance, at Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, if you buy season tickets, you have to make a donation. That donation is charitable contribution. And so, ideally, the way this was designed is that these programs were just supposed to break even instead of making millions of dollars or losing millions of dollars. And again, we just talked about kind of that tiered structure that determines a lot of how somebody makes money. So, for instance, in the SEC, if an SEC team gets into a BCS game, well, guess what? That money's split among all the other schools, so everybody wins. It's not like that in every conference. Okay, and so that's important to understand. Just to kind of give you an idea, this is an actual budget from the University of Florida. So let's look at this thing. Look at football, made $46 million. Okay, men's basketball made $862,000. Every other program lost money. Okay, I mean, you kind of get the idea. Football, men's basketball, mainly football is floating the boat for everything else. Okay, and again, these were not designed to make money, but they're also not designed to lose money. So, one thing that's important to understand is how do we get money? What are the revenues or expenses? Obviously, we get ticket sales. People get that. But you also get these distributions like I was talking about from money from BCS, money from bowl games, okay, media deals. You get guaranteed money. What I mean by that is if you go play a ball game. So, for instance, Tennessee played at Bristol last year. They were guaranteed money, more money than they made on the bowl game. You have donations. You have stuff that you sell at the games, meaning T-shirts, hats. You have these media deals. You get royalties from sponsorships. You have sports camps. Okay, so there's a lot of ways that potentially, people can make money. The problem is there's a lot of expenses. The biggest one, meaning for every scholarship you write, that's money that comes out of the athletic department. Meaning that money, if I give a half scholarship to a volleyball player, that money has to be written out to the university. They're completely separate. You have guarantees that you pay out when scrub teams come play at your place. You have salaries, benefits, travel, recruiting, equipment. I mean, it's unbelievable. Game day operations. You have medical that you have to pay for, facilities. I mean, it's unbelievable the amount of money that's spent. And this will kind of give you a little bit, going back to the USA Today, this will kind of give you a little bit of an idea of where money is spent at. And I'll link to this also. You can, basically see where people spend their money at. Okay. And so here we go. This is kind of where some of the money comes from for Texas A&M. And so it just kind of gives you an idea, and I'll provide a link for you all to look at that. Now, it's important to know that, you can look at the financial statements for anybody. Meaning you can look at, I have a link on here and I won't pull it up because I want to make this fairly short, but you can look and see where the NCAA makes money. You can look at what they spend money on, their position, their cash flow. It's in this document. And so it's important for you to know that about any school, your favorite school. And so this leads kind of to the last thing, which is dealing with budgeting. And it's important to understand that, especially for you all who are potentially going into maybe coaching, you have to understand kind of how budgets work. So I'm going to kind of explain these real quick. An operational budget just basically is a statement that anticipates revenues and expenses for day-to-day functions. It's usually a 1 year budget, but it's segmented into months. A line item budget is shows basically each individual expense and revenue by the department. Okay, and it lets you a lot more detailed. A program budget, it shows funds that are allocated to just a particular program, meaning wrestling, volleyball, football. A performance budget is it basically funds that are linked to measurable results, meaning money that you get if you win or if you go to the NCAA tournament. And then a capital budget, it's more of a separate thing, and this is basically it's for capital projects. It's for building new additions to the stadium, building new facilities. Okay, it's a whole separate thing because it takes that much money to make these big projects happen. So it has to have its own separate budget. So what I'll do is I'll link to all this stuff on EagleWeb, and then I'll also put up your post and forum for this week, and then I'll also post your case study. Doing well. Keep up with the work.